Hey guys, it's Miss Rosh. I hope all of you are doing well. I miss you guys so much. And today we're going to continue our online learning. First, I'm going to start by going over the answers to the questions from your text last week called Two Famous Friends. And then we're going to read a completely new text together called The Smell of Rain. And of course, there will be an essay question that goes with that. So let's go ahead and get started. So the answer key for Two Famous Friends, number 1 is A, 2 is C, 3 is D, and 4 is D. And of course, 5 answers will vary. So here's my text. It's called The Smell of Rain by Jennifer Owings Dewey. And it says 2003 right here. That's so I know that this text was published in 2003. So I've already selected the largest font size so that hopefully we can all read along as I read. And I also have our assessment questions pulled up so that we can look at them before we start reading. This is a great strategy when I know I'm going to have to answer questions after I read a text because I already know what I'm going to be asked. So that way as I read, I can kind of pull out key things that'll help me better be able to answer the questions without having to go back and look multiple times for what my questions are asking. So let's go ahead and read through them. So question 1, part A, which sentence best describes the theme of the short story? Okay, so we've talked about theme before. Keep in mind that a theme is the moral or message of a story that the author wants either the characters in the story to learn or the reader or either or. So as I read my text, I'm going to be looking for a message that my author is trying to convey. And convey means to get across or to show. So question number 2, part B, which detail from the text best supports the answer to part A? So I have several options here. And remember, these questions are asked all the time. And it's important to be able to answer them correctly because with part A and part B questions, you have to get both of them right for the question to be counted correct on a test. So which detail from the text best supports the answer? This tells me that for whichever answer I choose to be the theme, one of these quotes needs to show or prove that that is correct, okay? So we want to pick a quote that supports and backs up the theme, okay? And we'll be looking for key words to pull out of that that match up with the theme that we've chosen, okay? So question number 3, how does Amanda react when the narrator tells her that she can smell rain? Okay, so this is a simple standard of describing how the plot of a story or drama unfolds as well as how the characters respond or change as the plot moves toward a resolution. So this is simply noticing what happens at this point, right? So this is our comprehension coming out. We can determine how Amanda reacts based on what we've read, okay? And part B, which quote from the text best supports the answer to part A. And of course, like we talked about, this needs to support the answer you choose. And it's a direct quote from the passage. And this is super convenient because you will have to go back and look in the passage to find the answer. And undoubtedly, this answer will be listed. Okay, so let's go ahead. Of course, number 5, how does paragraph 10 contribute to the development of the story? Okay, so that is a fill in the blank. So let's go ahead and read our story. Jennifer Owings Dewey is an author and illustrator of natural history books for children and adults. In this short story, a narrator describes being able to smell oncoming rain. As you read, take notes on what the narrator observes when it is about rain. Okay, this is totally optional, but it might help you with your questions. So let's get to the actual text. What do you mean you can smell rain coming? Amanda asked. She was my first cousin, 10 years old, same as me. She was on a visit to our ranch from her home in Vermont. Nobody ever asked me before, I said, shaking my head. I just can. But how? My curious cousin started the two of us on a quest for an answer. Can anybody honestly smell rain coming? What made me think I could? It was August, so there were a lot of chances to observe. In the desert, southwest monsoon rains come in August. Strong winds come first, blowing over the mountains. Dark thunderheads build, rising miles into the sky, and rain spills out of them, falling in gray streaks that resemble long, straight hair. But before I saw or felt any of those signs, I could smell the rain coming. No wonder Amanda was so skeptical. Think, Amanda said to me, what is it you smell that tells you rain is coming? I struggled to find words for a complex sensation that until that moment I had not ever thought about. Let's go to the pond this afternoon, I said. I want to show you something. I planned to show Amanda that insects can detect coming rains. If insects could do it, then it wasn't impossible. So why couldn't people do it too? Our irrigation pond was fed by runoff from the river, an irregular flow that came and went according to how much it rained. The pond was muddy, shallow, sometimes boggy, and always alive with insects. I had noticed that insects flew in low and gathered in huge numbers around or on the water well before a rain. We tested my theory a few days later, waiting by the pond as thunderclouds built in the east. Sure enough, the willows that surrounded the pond were soon thick with insects tucked under leaves, clinging to stems and branches. Over time, we saw that the approach of a big storm, with flashes of lightning and booming thunder, always increased insect populations in the bushes and on the surface of the water. They sense rain is coming, I ventured. They're out flying around and something makes them find a safe place to wait out the wet. Chickens and chicks, pigs and piglets, cats and kittens all sought shelter before a storm. In large noisy flocks, ravens flew into the cottonwood trees, squawking and cackling an hour before rain fell. Bees zipped into their hives. We had a dozen white hive boxes at the bottom of the alfalfa field. One afternoon, my sisters went horseback riding and got caught on the far side of the river when a flash flood tore out of the mountains. They came home and described how their mounts turned nervous and jittery, ready to bolt for home well before the river. The horses had sensed the danger. Amanda insisted that I did not smell rain coming, but saw signs. It's the way the animals behave that's giving you clues about rain coming. I think so anyway, Amanda said. Maybe, I said, frowning, considering, but I can smell it too. Finally, we discovered other small changes that took place before a rain. Cut hay let off a potent aroma. Of course, an aroma is a smell. The berries on juniper pines seemed to swell and turn a darker purple. The smell of the berries seemed richer. Alfalfa blossoms appeared to grow fuller and bluer. Their fragrance seemed fuller too. At the time, the true source of these aromas was a mystery. Years later, I understood that moisture in the air, a rise in humidity, can cause plants to give off strong smells. In our search for answers, we asked Bill, the ranch wrangler. He lived an outdoor life. He knew Mother Nature's secrets. Part of the answer is the crowsit bushes, he said. When crowsit bark gets rain-soaked, it lets off a powerful smell. Some folks like it. To me, it's the stench of roofing tar. The winds blow that far-off smell to your nose well before the rain comes. Wind-carrying plant smells, Amanda announced, pleased with herself. She went home in early September. I wanted her to stay forever. I'll try at home to smell rain on the way, she said, maybe to console me before leaving. We had discovered that there are aromas, changes in the air, and changes in what animals do before a storm. Paying attention to these signs can help a person predict rain. It's still mysterious, but like a lot of mysteries, it's also still true. Okay, so I've come to the end of my text, and as you guys have listened to me read, you've realized that teachers mess up when they read as well. And the important thing is that I go back and correct myself. Okay? So when we read out loud, that's just a part of the process. Also, I want to keep in mind my first question about asking about the theme. What's the message? What did the characters learn? So boys and girls, what did the characters learn? I think that The narrator said something very specific about what they discovered. Changes in the air, changes in what animals do before a storm. Paying attention to these signs can help a person predict rain. So, guys, she wasn't technically smelling rain. The rain that was about to come caused moisture to increase in the air, and that made the plants give off a certain aroma or smell. Okay, so not only was this an entertaining story, but I've also learned something. So, which sentence best describes the theme of the short story? So, guys, read through your options. Look for the message. All right, which detail best supports it? Of course, we've discussed this. Okay, how does Amanda react when the narrator tells her that she can smell rain? Who is Amanda? How does she react? And what supports that? And question number 5, how does paragraph 10 contribute to the development of the story? So, of course, I need to scroll up and read paragraph 10. Now, once I've answered your questions, I want us to focus on responding and answering the prompt. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. How can people use their basic senses to understand the world around them? What are some of the ways animals show that they understand the world around them without being able to communicate in words? Now, first, I have to realize that there are 2 questions that I need to answer in order to correctly respond to the prompt. So my first one is asking me, how can people use their basic senses to understand the world around them? So our senses include smell, taste, touch, hearing, and seeing, okay? So which of those senses were used in the passage, and how did my main characters use them, okay? So go back to the passage, highlight things that are going to help you answer it, or simply take notes, okay? Second part, what are some of the ways animals show that they understand the world around them without being able to communicate in words, okay? So what other senses, what actions do the animals in the story show that tells me that they understand what's going to happen, okay? So all of this can be tied back to our story. So use details and information from the story to answer this prompt. Of course, how long it is up to you, but please make sure you answer all aspects of this prompt. So guys, thank you so much for being here with me, and I'm super proud of you for continuing to do the online work. So I will see you later.